You don't want to stand in front of the mic.
Just sit and have things on it.
Oh, great, I can't.
Also, don't feedback that mic. Don't feedback the mic. At least for my kids.
Alright, the microphone's down there, I gotta watch out for that. There it is, okay.
You got the trainer, Zelda.
Hey, you rerouted me here earlier, by the way. Yeah. You touched my phone at Chick-fil-A, you rerouted me like 3 times.
Hey, increase it.
Can you do 80%, 100%?
No.
Okay, first look at the microphone.
The game of life.
Did you lost?
I'm sorry, I hacked it, glitched it, and broke it, therefore I win. Because I cannot lose.
You didn't know.
I cannot lose, therefore I win.
Barrier skip and win way.
You can jump later. Okay, is it displaying correctly? Okay.
Yeah, they
Oh, yeah, I
can
can hear you.
And give me a second because Caroline. Hey honey, you're good at this. From beginning. Oh! I'm so ready.
First one that's worked all night.
Yeah! I'm awesome!
This is Megan, my lovely tech support and moral support.
Hello! I love that, yay!
This is the science of speedrunning. Basically, it is a simple introduction to what speedruns are, a overview of a couple of them, because as much as I would like to do a demonstration, it takes these people over hundreds of hours to perfect these, and as entertaining as it would be to see me attempt to do this, it would take far too long to start. First off, what is a speedrun? If you look at Wiki, it says, is a playthrough or recording thereof of a whole video game or selected part of it, individual level, performed with the intent of completing it as fast as possible, optionally under certain prerequisites, mainly for the purposes of entertainment and competition. The simplified version that is not from Wiki, beat the game as fast as possible, using no outside influences or cheating devices like an actual player game chart, and anything that is a part of the game is free running. This includes glitches, any and all. Now there are different types of speedruns. First off is the any percent. No questions asked, point A to point B as fast as possible. A fine example of this is Pokemon Yellow, where you can literally leave your house and walk into the credits. Because reasons. A glitchless run is basically a purist run. It is take the game as it was made, as it was intended, and simply get through it as fast as possible. These are very uncommon because most people find them boring. If people want to see the game played, they'll probably play it themselves. 100% is pretty much exactly what it sounds. Get everything in the game. For example, in Ocarina of Time, that would be all the medallions, all the gold sculptulas, all the upgrades and everything, completely fill out the inventory list. There are a few specific ones where they use the highest feasible percentage. I can't name the game offhand, but the game is possible to get 108%. Nobody will run 108% because to get 107% is about an hour and a half. To get 108% is 3.5 hours. For 1 extra percent is an extra 2 hours of gameplay. Nobody does it, for obvious reasons. Another type is game specific. I'm going to use Ocarina of Time a lot here because it is the one I am the most familiar with. There are upwards of 5 different ways you can speedrun Ocarina of Time. First off is the 80%, as I said. 100%, get everything. There is Medallion Stones Trials, which is using glitches, but still go through most of the game, as in Deku Tree, the Doggo's Cavern, Jabu Jabu, go through all of those and the 6 mini dungeons at the end. There is the Bottle Adventure, or Reverse Bottle Adventure, I always get mixed up, where you can use a very interesting glitch to program items into your inventory. You literally take a bottle, take your either your arrows or your slingshot, and suddenly you have a light medallion. I'm not kidding, they can actually do this.
Also, for game I especially prefer to like the ones for red and blue, where they're like, oh, here's how quickly you can beat Pokemon and capture all 151 Pokemon in like, was that 2 hours?
People have actually done that. It is
And
terrifying to
it's
watch.
trade, then it's attacking to get you, and just
Not
like
bad,
that.
it's a glitch.
I don't care.
Like,
Second
no,
off,
we already said hacks are not hacks do not count.
you're not married couple yet. Stop fighting with me.
Okay. Next one is Colossalcon, or this is generally shortened to TAS. Colossalcon speedrun. No, not you. Him.
Okay. Oh,
A Colossalcon is generally not considered a proper speedrun. It is where someone uses a computer and an emulator to go through the game step by step, frame by frame. And then they can literally have perfect input, perfect execution of everything. If you've ever gone online and seen the absolutely ridiculous ones where like Super Mario 64 is beaten with 0 stars in about 5 minutes where they just fling themselves nowhere and end up at Bowser, that is done with a tool because it is nigh impossible to be done by human hands. This is done to see how to break the game. They go through it step by step and say, okay, I need to push this button, this direction at this time. They figure out how to get it done with the computer, and then they see if they can do it themselves. We will be going to a tool-assisted run later, and we'll see why it is specifically tool-assisted only, because unless you're a robot, you will never be able to do this. And the final one is individual levels. These really vary by the game. For example, the Sonic games, where you have one specific level, those are very common for people to do an individual level speedrun because they can just grind that one level over and over and practice and practice and practice it. Or it would be a racing game where you do a specific track. As for why people speedrun, some people simply love the game so much they want more out of it. I don't know if any of you here have heard of Dust and Elysium Tale. Okay, we've got a couple. I personally have started speedrunning that just because I enjoyed the game so much. It had a little bit of everything I like. I beat it once, I beat it 3 more times, and it's like, I want more out of this. So I started speedrunning.
What is your time on that game so far?
I believe the world record for a warpless run is 58:42. My current best time is an hour 6:12.
And what the time it takes you normally to play it?
Your standard person can just go through the game in approximately 4 to 5 hours, I believe. Now, I did specifically say a warpless speed run. There is a very simple glitch someone has found where you can literally walk into any room you want. Literally, enter the area, you're at the boss of the area. Next area, you're at the boss of the area. Next area, you're at the final boss. That speed run is 20 minutes. Personal preference, I don't get much enjoyment out of that kind of run because I find it too easy. It's too simple. So, because I like the game, I'll take the longer route because simply I want to enjoy the game.
The longest speed run possible.
Yeah, I don't think I'm sharing, but do any of you guys know Rogue Legacy? Basically, I played through the game and I loved it, and I got to level 507, and I'm like, what do I do now? And I'm like, oh, do 100% run. It takes like 9 hours, and I've done it like 3 or 4 times, and I do that all the time. So, speedrunning's great to get more replayability out of games.
Now, on that note, you mentioned Rogue Legacy. I don't know if anybody here has played a little game called Dark Souls 2. Sorry.
No, we don't know what that is. No. What is this game called Dark Souls?
I have no idea.
Oh, no.
I mean,
It's evil.
I've been in my shoes. They start a character, they get 100 hours in, beat it once or twice, maybe start a new character, play a different way. Some people have gotten to the point where they want to beat it as fast as possible. There's 2 primary ways you can beat the game. For people who don't know, I can't remember the name of the gate, but there's a gate you can only enter if you have all 4 of the main boss souls. And then you can get to Dragon Lake Castle. Turns out there's a hidden side option where if you get 3 million souls total, your soul memory, I think it's 3 million, it'll just let you through anyway. Simply you can grind your way through if you can't get through one of the bosses. Your standard speed run will either do a run where they spam the Iron Keep boss, the fire demon, as many times, or about 6 times, and then they simply blitz through the rest of the game. There is an all-boss run where people go through all the 4 primary bosses and then end the game as fast as possible. It was just recently found, I believe, 2 days ago. Somebody just beat it in 20 minutes. I am not kidding you. Yes, the game can. His current record is 20 minutes 58 seconds. He knows he can get it under 20 minutes. He's aiming for about 19, I believe. And again, this is using only stuff built into the game. Sadly, he only does it with 2 glitches. The whole run is 2 glitches.
Further proving that gamers don't have a life.
For people who want to have a little fun when they get home, pull out the binoculars, push R1 and roll just about at the same time, and then let go of the binoculars right as you finish your roll. People sprinting. It's really funny. Because your animation goes.
And moving?
That is one of the things you use just to get through the game twice as fast, because it doesn't use any stamina to sprint that way. But okay, I'm sorry, go back. We'll get there. Hold on.
Spoiler.
I have to skip through the next part because I got one on the tirade. I apologize for people who know me. I do that a lot.
No, really?
The second option is simply competition. People want to compete against others. It is not uncommon to see people do speedrun races where they'll sit down and try and see who can finish it first. Third one is because they want to play more. Then with the first one, it's just they enjoy doing it. Some people want to see how fast can I get through this game. Fourth one is, I use the term self-improvement as simply beating yourself. It's like, I'm currently aiming for the world record in dust at the moment because my computer, it's kind of sad, in load times, I lose a solid minute across an hour run. I lose almost 90 seconds, so I cannot hit below an hour at the moment. Not physically possible. So at the moment, I'm just trying to beat my own time.
That would explain why he likes consoles.
Get a better SSD and actually have loaded some paints. Now we're going to go through a Super Mario Bros. Scraner in 3 minutes. This is done with a tool. They literally put everything they can do in first level. I believe it is only physically possible to do this 2 frames faster. At all, ever. According to... Go ahead. So most people will be familiar with the first 2 minutes of this. It'll just go by really fast.
I also don't know why I don't have sound, so we're going to figure that out. You don't need sound to watch, but I'm going to try to figure it out.
There you go.
There you go.
Well, no, we don't have sound.
We're hearing it from somewhere.
Turn the amp on. Turn the amp up.
I heard the coin. I can hear him out there.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, first level is already done. The big thing is he's going to rush the 2 flutes, and then he's going to do something absolutely ridiculous. It has become a little bit of a speedrunning holy grail to find a wrong warp, which is you're supposed to go somewhere, but you end up somewhere else.
Keep that in mind for later, by the way.
This combines 2 things that will literally break your mind. I literally sat there for about 2 minutes after this destroyed.
Yeah, because I found this on Facebook and I showed it to him and he's like, dude, explain what's happening. And he cried.
I was saying, along with this video was posted to, I'm terribly sorry, I completely forgot to grab the people who did these names. I can't give them the proper credit they deserve. I'll say it wasn't the beginning of the video, I just handled it offhand. But now remember what I said about the road one. They're going to go through here, get the 2 flutes. Now this is one of the you'll see in a moment, right there. No human can do that, intentionally. That is literally frame perfect. And when I use the term frame, most games nowadays run at either 30, 40, or 60 frames per second for the really high-end games. If something needs to be frame perfect, that is literally 1/30th of a second, 1/60th of a second. No questions asked. If you don't hit it perfectly, it's not going to work. It's going to make you cry later when the Ocarina of Time run is a human doing this, and half of the stuff is frame perfect. Now here you go. Start time rolling up. Grab the Koopa. For the record, the reason he's keeping the shell with him stops it from despawning, because he's doing some memory manipulation here. And yes, he just wall jumped. Now, oh, wait, there's more. Wait for it, wait for it. Oh, boy, what?
Can't see a thing.
Not this. You'll see why.
Excuse me. Thank you.
Oh, hold on.
Go sit where you
Hold on.
I can see just fine.
Hold on. For people who've heard of it, this is glitch mode. This is not uncommonly heard of. Here's Princess Peach. Now, the ladies advanced it. Oh, and of course you told me, this is the one.
Thank you.
Put your princess in another castle. Almost. This is 298. I'm going to attempt shoot. Is that one? Slide down. Okay, I'm going to attempt. Now this is one of the times when the game has been broken down to its code. I just threw stuff out there, but in the game's memory, it is always keeping track of the enemies on the screen. You have Koopa 1, Koopa 2, the fire flowers, etc. Those are always there, the X and Y coordinates where they are on the screen, no matter what. Now remember that, they are always there, no matter what, unless they're off the screen. When you hit a warp pipe, it gives out an address. Think of like mailing a letter. So it says, I need to use 4620 Pentagon Highway Country.
It doesn't like you. It doesn't like
It
you.
is good place. The thing is, first off, when he jumps to the side of that pipe, he hits a hidden note block. That is supposed to be an invisible note block. You hit it, and I believe a feather pops out. There is two glitches happening here. One, the game, for some reason, thinks that note block is a pipe, is a warp pipe. So he hits that warp pipe, and usually, this is not horrifically uncommon. This has been done where speedrunners will, as a joke, hit it, and they get sent down below to what I call glitch land. It's just a giant sprite sheet where you can't really do anything. The catch is, what happens when you basically mail a package with no address? It usually goes to glitch land. So what they did is, the reason you saw them keep the one Koopa shell, kill the fire flower, or piranha plant, I'm sorry, I've been saying fire flower.
Bad person.
The reason, because they needed specific enemies in specific positions. They flew up, grabbed one Koopa, kicked the other one down. There's a 4-frame window where you can get one to spawn and drop back down before the piranha plant they killed respawns. So they have the two shells, they throw one off to the left, one off to the right, and then they have to hit the note block at the exact frame while both shells are in one specific position, one X value between, it's a separate X value, but both of them need to be in the same position while one of them is off screen. Both of them need to be in a specific position, and the game says, I need a warp pipe. Where do I go? Oh, there's no address. It keeps reading, and it finds the enemy data and reads that as the warp pipe address. So what they did is they arranged the enemies in such a way so when the program says, where do I need to go? The enemy's X and Y coordinates with their, basically it's called a hex code, their in-game data value, it spells out, taking the Princess Peach. That is why I say this is hypothetically impossible to do by a human intentionally. You can get lucky to do it. Now remember, I know you're shaking your head. It is hypothetically possible, but you have to get lucky because one of the shells is off screen. You can't use it, you have no visual cue. You literally have to guess. And you have to throw the other shell at the same time. And it has to be in the exact right spot, while the other one's in the exact right spot. Hypothetically possible? I'm going to say no.
It's like 326 people have done it. Sub 4 minutes.
Okay, I haven't come across that, so I guess it's being
Like, I don't know who does it, because I just saw it the other day.
Okay, we'll
It's
say.
like, you can do it.
Okay, maybe but I still want to shoot them for being androids. Okay, the big question I know a lot of people have is, why use glitches? A lot of people will look at a speedrun and say, oh, that's cheating. That's not actually beating the game. There's two parts to this answer. One, a glitch is a part of the game. Intentional or not, it is a part of the game. It is a fallacy by the program. As someone who speedruns the game doesn't want to just play the game. Their objective is to beat it as fast as possible, no questions asked. Which is why they use the glitches, because the amount of skill required to execute some of these is ridiculous. As I was talking about frame perfect, wait until you see the speedruns where they do multiple frame perfect 1/60th or 1/40th of a second tricks in sequence. Where they literally have 5 or 6 in a row they have to execute, and sometimes it'll only save them 2 to 3 minutes. They will literally practice for hours upon hours to save a minute or 2, just because they want to do it as fast as they can. I'll say, it varies that is true. Sometimes it is only for seconds, but then it is the trade-off. If you have to land a 1/30th of a second thing, but to save 5 seconds, but you'll lose a minute if you fail, most people won't do it unless they really want to roll back. And even then, sometimes they won't do it if they're falling behind. Now, this gentleman here is Cosmo, also known as Cosmo Wright on Twitch. He just recently set a couple world records for the Ocarina of Time speedrun. This is any percent, meaning the objective is to beat it as fast as possible, no questions asked. The other thing is, simply while we're waiting for the movie to load, for the people who really hate glitches, or who think it's an abomination, I know some people like this, there are glitchless speedruns. If you're curious about those, feel free to watch them. Now, the big things, he needs really 3, to do this entire speedrun. He needs a bottle, he needs a decker stick, and the shield.
That's it.
Quite literally, the entire game can be beaten with that pretty much.
Yes, he's using this is Japanese.
Yes, thank you.
Japanese.
Yes, Japanese gets a lot more information out with shorter characters, so assuming the text scrolls at the same speed, you will almost always see a game played in Japanese. Except for Windbreaker HD, where ironically they increased the text scrolling speed on everything but Japanese for no apparent reason. So they were starting to use the English one, and then somebody realized that over the course of a 6-hour run, you save like a minute using Italian. For the record though, in the original Wind Waker speedrun, you save, I believe, 30 minutes of just text playing the Japanese version. So in this one, because it's only 18 minutes, it doesn't make a big deal, but when he wants the world record, frames matter. Tenths of a second matter. And the reason his objective right now, he set this one, he beat it a little while ago, his objective is to get below 18 minutes. Because he does have one, I'm going to use the term critical mess up because it costs him 10 seconds, but he still does it in under 19 minutes. Yes, I believe so.
This one, he gets scrubbed perfectly.
No, he gets scrubbed. He fails the Hess on the builder.
Yeah.
Okay.
This one's he actually adds an extra 8 seconds or so because of, towards the end.
Oh, he also fails the bug on this one, for almost losing the bug.
Yeah, he almost loses the bug.
Hold on.
We'll get to that.
Now, for one thing, movement in this game. The fastest way to get around is walking backwards. Nobody knows why. It is simply the fastest way to move around. You will get slightly faster movement if you can roll perfectly every single time the first frame you're available to. It's just much more consistent to do walking backwards, and it's like if you could do perfect rolls the whole way, you'd save like 1/3 of a second, and that's literally assuming you got 1/30th of a second every single time.
And he just skipped cast.
Yep. He walked up to the shop. Hey, company! No thanks, that's it. Now, I gotta explain a couple things here. Instead of getting the sword, he's gonna end up using 3 or 4 decking sticks. Because he saves a little bit of time, doing that. The other thing is, obviously, to get Deku sticks, he needs money, which you'll see him getting a little bit in the way. Now, he wants a bottle. So he's going to leave Deku Forest. I'm sorry, Kokiri Forest. Kokiri Village. I cannot talk today, I'm sorry.
Calm down, honey. You're only in front of like 100 people. 50
I have apparently lost my ability to count or hallucinating.
Here, I have your distraction.
Okay.
Distraction.
Interestingly, when I had posted the the information about this panel, about it being under 20 minutes, that time had been beaten 4 times before this. Now, this is generally called a voodoo dance. It's a very specific sequence of moves from a starting position that will let you do shit like that. He just swam up his or exit. Yeah, he got it first breath. Now, as I said, this is faster than the previous one. There's an interesting glitch where if you have a text box up, water has no properties. So the previous way to get through there was to stand on top of it, wait for Navi to talk to you, backflip immediately, jump slash, and hit C up, and you would fall straight through the water. People found I believe it's a 2-degree angle where you can clip into that and simply swim into the water zone. Now here, he's simply getting rubies. Like I said, he needs, I believe, 50 or 60. I can't remember. He'll get the right amount, obviously, and hidden red ruby. Now what's coming up here is called a WES, a water extended super slide. Long story short, if you do a jump slash and it knocks you backward, and you go into water and then leave the water from the same momentum, you don't stop. Look, I said backwalking is fastest. This doesn't count.
Because you're not technically walking.
Yes. Also, because of the angle he cuts this at, he skips the Gabora cutscene where he talks to you for like a solid minute. So I'd like to point out, he does not have the dagger shield, he does not have the sword. He's already in Kokiri Village.
He has a stick.
This is the fastest bottle you can get. Actually, no, he's out of the stick because he broke it on the wall.
Oh, that's right.
Now, he uses a little, his objective here, grab the cutters, obviously. He uses a little known trick, well, for general players, a little known trick I like to call cucko herding. If you are holding one over your head, all of the other ones will run directly away from you, so you can herd them in a general direction. I wish I had known this before.
You're a good chicken.
Chicken was
They are not chickens. They are evil.
They are evil.
They will
They're
kill
I
you.
want to fry them and eat them. I'm afraid the fried bird will rise up and eat.
They'll be a Deadpool. I know somebody's made a Kirko, like, KFC joke somewhere.
Oh, I'm sure.
I know it's been done. It's overused, but it's been done. And actually, I think this run he actually meant to stop hurting them, too.
I believe there was one cucko sitting on the fence that actually decides to go the wrong way. There's a common term in speedrunning called RNG, random number generation. Like when you throw the cucko, it is sitting directly on the edge of the fence. 90% of the time, they will walk like this and walk nicely away from the speaker to the pen. He got screwed just by random numbers and it walked away from it. Random number generation is the bane of a speedrun, though it is also kind of what makes it interesting. Like this cucko, I've seen it before spawn behind the windmill. So that's an extra 3 to 5 seconds lost. And when the speedrun is under 19 minutes, 5 seconds means a lot.
I've got a question.
Okay.
Since there's no such thing as real random in a computer, is there a way to remove the randomness?
There's a way to manipulate it.
It depends on the game, it depends on how the game uses random. For example, in the Chrono Trigger speedrun, people have found out that the random number generation seed is based on how long you spend at the select menu, the save or when you load in the game, the main menu when you load in the game. So people have actually mastered sitting there for 3 to 5 frames and getting perfect random generation on bosses. They can literally sit there and Frog will kill Flea on his own. Now, like I said, he needed a bottle, and he needs to get bugs in that bottle. We'll see why in a minute. Now he's actually going to save and reset because it's the fastest way to get back to Kokiri Village. And you are going to see the Deku Tree butchered, and I feel sorry for anybody who hasn't seen this before.
Butchered. Literally.
Yeah.
Butchered.
Remember, like I said, you don't need 3 days to beat the entire game. He's got 2. Now, he's got enough money here to buy the Deku Shield. He's going to get the 5 rupees from the jump here again, and 2 more Deku Sticks. He's going to get 1 more Deku Stick in the Deku Tree, and that's all he's going to do. Now, out of here, he's going to do another little voodoo dance to set up something, and he himself is bad at this trick, so he always has to pause for half a second during it, which he uses to equip the shield anyway. But then there's a special property in this game, and Majora's Mask, which you see this used a lot more. If you hit a wall at a very specific acute angle, you go through it. And because he entered in water, he's still in water. Bye, Mido.
We didn't like you anyway.
Nobody likes you, go home.
You're worse than Navi.
Link, you're drunk, go home.
No, Fi is worse than Navi.
Oh.
She almost killed Skyward Sword for me on her head. Master Peace investigating about Pie of Sand. It's the only thing in the room. I'm pretty sure she's
That's the
not
next
checking Pie of
next
Sand.
chance to tell you something you already know, but I'm going to say it anyway.
You're obviously a beginner here. You're obviously a noob. No!
Now, as I
Shut up!
mentioned previously, the wrong warp has effectively become the holy grail of speedrunning. This is a perfect example why.
Get ready. Open your mouth and swallow again.
Basically, but that's not. Okay,
That's one of the ways to call this how to do it.
hold on. So you're free to bring that up later. Okay, everyone who's played the game knows the Deku Tree. I highly doubt anybody, assuming you gave up the game, I highly doubt anybody didn't give it up before this. Okay, this is called the Infinite Sword Glitch. The Deku Stick, which is twice as strong as the Kokiri Sword, aka the Master Sword, is considered swinging every frame. Every 30 times a second, he's dealing 2 damage. Now this has some very interesting properties. For example, the simple way, how you get the Infinite Sword Glitch, you interrupt a down stab. Using something like picking up an item, or he's been using Navi here to interrupt it.
And actually, you're supposed to be able to interrupt that Navi speech right there.
Yep, he messed up and actually got the Navi in here. Now here's an interesting thing. While you're swinging your sword, you cannot fall. Which is why he was able to stand on that scaffold. And then he ricochets, and he's moving so fast, that is not actually loaded yet.
How you keep going?
And then he ricochets again, gets another water super slide, and scrubs.
Boom, boom, boom. That's just talent.
Okay, I'm actually going to pause this a second.
That's just awesome.
Don't you just move to the next video. Stop touching my stuff.
Go away.
Okay.
It's not because I'm a girl. It's only because you're my stuff.
The thing is, as I said, with the Infinite Sword Glitch, his sword is considered permanently swinging. Now, the game has an interesting property where as long as Link is swinging his sword, he cannot walk off a ledge. He cannot fall off a ledge. People have discovered if you take any rebound from your shield, you are considered flat-footed. You are considered neutral, meaning you can stand in air because you can't fall, because you're swinging your sword. If you have the Infinite Sword Glitch and get hit while in midair, you will stand in midair. In the longer run, people will do what's called hovering, which is with bombs. Bomb shoes are the easiest because they detonate the moment you drop them in midair.
Yeah, that's used in the Majora's Mask run.
No, they do this in the...
Well, don't they do it in Majora's Mask as well?
Oh, yes, it's very common in Majora's Mask, but I was referring to this one.
Well, yes, the Majora's Mask takes like 2 hours, but that's beside the point.
For a good example, you can simply use bombs in the Spirit Temple, hover up to the mirror shield, and hover over to the silver gauntlets. You never have to enter the dungeon at all because the chests are right outside. Okay, you get the scrubs? And the thing is, what he wants to actually have happen with this boss is he wants to be able to walk out the door, because otherwise he would have to leave and come back. So he's going to do a little trick to kill the boss and then leave, even though the door never opens.
And he did do a jump slash into the cutscene.
Yep. That jump slash into the cutscene actually saved him a little bit, because by default, the down stab has no damage.
Back leg on the... There you go.
The down stab will actually do the same damage as whatever attack you last did. So if you jump slash with a Deku stick and then switch to your sword and start down stabbing, you're still doing double, or technically quadruple damage with every stab. But he's going to use the infinite sword glitch to jump through the door. He uses the Deku stick on her. The Deku stick hit, or I'm sorry, the Deku nut to stun her. The Deku stick hits her through the door. She's dead.
Oh wait, there's more.
The other mic, turn the other mic off.
I can see that. Now, like I said, you want to be able to leave and come back, because this is where the wrong work comes in. First off, he's going to do a glitch called Ocarina Items, which is basically lets you play any item as the ocarina. To do that, he needs a bug or a bottle in hand, and he almost loses his bug here.
And he gets it.
The thing is, you need the blue bottle, meaning it has something in it in your hand. So you have to drop something and pick it back up. You do this with fish as well. Now he's going to do another little voodoo dance. He lands specifically on the edge of the warp and plays the Deku stick as an ocarina. The warp starts, he stops it. Does another little voodoo dance.
Get ready, kids. This is where your mind gets blown.
And he's in Ganon's castle.
What?
Ganon's castle. Ganondorf is already dead. Oh, by the way, here he is.
And now Ganondorf is dead, and you don't need the light arrows.
Kill a giant demon pig.
Did he just kill Ganondorf?
Yes.
Because actually, because but I like this. It's fun.
Random note, the V-Pot, or...
The other mic off.
No, it's supposed to. Random note, if he had the Deku shield here, the animation for the Deku shield burning is not loaded in this entire map. So if he touches any fire, the game is soft lock. Because it can't load what it needs to. Which is convenient because they found a way to skip the rest of the tower. Now, similar to the water super slide, similar in result, but different in execution, he's going to do the original hyper-extended super slide, which is you do a very specific input while recoiling from damage. And he has to do it off a rock. This is also random generation.
This is also what screws him over a bit on the run.
Mm-hmm. He messes this up the first time. Otherwise, the previous run actually entered the tower and you had to follow Zelda down. This skips the entire tower.
Bye!
Also, another note, even though the physical level is loaded, the graphic level is not. If he walks to the right here, the game will also freeze because the 64 can't hold that much data at once. And he's at the bottom of the castle.
Woo! Not done yet, kids, but wait, there's more.
And the interesting thing is, because obviously you're supposed to fight Ganon as an adult. And when you lose the Master Sword, there's a special set of code that goes into effect that says all items you are currently holding deal 1 damage. Ganon's first form has 12 HP. No matter what you're wielding, it will deal 12 damage, or deal 1 damage. You need to hit him 12 times. Except the Deku Stick. Because young Link was never supposed to be here, they never changed the damage the Deku Stick can do. So if he does the infinite sword glitch with the Deku Stick jump slash, he'll die in 3 hits.
There's actually a little tidbit that happens, and we're not sure why it happens. I'll show you when it happens. Because I don't understand why it needs to happen. When Link...
Oh.
Like, there's
There's a funny little graphical glitch. One of the funniest things you can do is play Twilight Princess and be in the wrong form in a cutscene. Like
Oh my God,
Link, you're supposed to be a wolf. His head is down here, his butt is up here, his sword is over here.
she's a what the hell is this? I don't know. Why are your comments coming at it? I'm sorry. I know, but it was funny.
It was.
It was really funny.
It was.
No fun.
Okay.
Now, no Link's feet. I believe it's in this one.
Look at you.
Wow.
Yep. Growth spurt. Thanks for the win.
No. Actually, the next one is full stilts.
Yeah, I don't understand why that happened.
It's simply where he is falling from.
I know, but there's no real reason for it.
It's the magic of Cosmos. Cosmos?
Yes.
Okay, now again, he's going to do the jump slash into the cutscene because he's storing the damage, then he's going to do the down stab and get the infinite sword glitch. Behold, I am human, and then I become a mighty king.
Beaten by a kid.
By the power of Grayskull! I'm sorry.
No, don't do it.
He has the Triforce of Power.
I'm a
Here comes the invisible master sword that he never had.
Not yet.
Someone did
Not
the
yet.
skeleton now.
What?
Someone did the skeleton voice.
Yes.
Yes. I don't know who you are, but I love you. You want to hear the voice? You know I want to.
Oh, I know.
We'll wait till after. No, the little cutscene is not necessary to the story of life.
I love the fact that the cutscene actually takes longer than the fight. Now again, infinite sword glitch, 1 hit, 2 hits, and 3.
I love how he's going between his legs and hitting his crotch essentially.
Barely see it.
Invisibility credits.
That's
Now, the thing is, the Master Sword was, as part of the cutscene, knocked out of your hand even though you never had it. So it's convenient because Young Link walks over, and no matter who you are, the Master Sword is forcefully equipped in your hand. It doesn't matter what you're holding, you actually are holding the Master Sword. So he's going to repeat the process on the second form, and again, kill him in 3 hits. But again, he's still holding the Master Sword, even though it looks like a Deku stick. It is the Master Stick. Please, nobody go with magic stick jokes.
Oh boy.
Even though it is quite magical.
Why didn't you do this earlier? Why didn't you do this earlier? Quit making us look at the fatties in your games. Why? The magic stick.
He's got the magic stick. And Dan is dead.
And now he
18 minutes, 40 seconds.
18 minutes, 40 seconds. He's currently shooting for just under 18 minutes. If you see, don't actually get this on there. Because on the left side, those are what are called splits. He has personal cuts he's set when he leaves the Deku Forest, when he gets the bottle or leaves the bottle, when he finishes the scrubs, he hits a button and that'll cut off the timer. The timer keeps going, but that will clock that specific time value. So if he messes up on a spot, they'll still be able to see his sum total of best times. His sum total of best is, I believe, 1740. I believe. So even though he physically hasn't been able to do it, it is physically possible to beat the game in under 18 minutes. And
This chat like, oh my gosh.
for the record, this guy is awesome. If you can actually see your comments in the chat, he's always like to explain what he's doing. He's really, even though he's a very mellow guy, he's still really fun to watch. And yes, he gave us personal permission to do this.
Because he's cool like that.
Now, I'm sure most of you who don't know what the heck that was are curious as to why he suddenly appeared in Ganon's castle.
We are going to attempt to explain this. Attempt.
I see. Ganon's not good enough for you, huh?
Oh, hell, Ganon's big.
Okay. The way zones are stored in Ocarina of Time in the code is a simple list. Now, a cutscene is simply considered another zone. So you start out with the intro, number 2, and then it sends you to number 1, Kokiri Village. Now, when you leave Kokiri Village to go into the Deku Tree, it'll go Kokiri Village plus 2, which will give you the cutscene to the introduction of the Deku Tree. Then, once you're done there, it'll bring you back to Kokiri Village, and then you can enter the Deku Tree proper, which is Kokiri Village plus 3. Then you get into the Deku Tree level 1. You break through the web, get into the basement, level 2. Even though there's not a proper zone, when you drop far enough, it's considered a level transition. So it's Deku Tree level 1 plus 1, which brings you to the basement. You beat the scrubs, you go through the boss door, Deku Tree basement plus 1, the Queen Go mode. Now he leaves the room and goes back into the basement because that is the fastest way to get that stone door to open because he needed to do that sequence to get back out of the world. So he goes back into the boss room and steps on, and then does his little voodoo dance, gets the bugs, etc., lands on the warp. At one specific frame, now again, this is, I believe, 1/40th of a second, the way that the game processes the cutscene is, as I said, with that, or in the game, it simply pauses your normal controls. Pulling out the ocarina is considered a cutscene because you don't have your normal controls, but you do have a cancel button. So he hits two buttons in midair, which is the bottle and then another item. He pulls out the item to play as an ocarina. He lands on the warp, and that lets him actually push cancel to cancel the warp cutscene. Everybody with me so far? Then he does his other little voodoo dance because he needs it to take a specific amount of time, and because right there the game has said area +5. But it doesn't say, but because he hasn't actually left the zone yet, it's a blank +5. So instead of going into Kokiri Village +5, I'm sorry, not +5, but you get what I mean. Instead of going to Kokiri Village +5 and playing Deku Tree Dying, he goes into the Deku Tree Basement plus, and ends up at Ganon's Castle. And it is just a convenient miracle that they are ordered in such a way that you can go from there to Ganon's Castle. It is it is literally just happenstance that it happens to be coded in that specific order. It happens to say +6, that area +6 happens to be Ganon's Castle. There is no special manipulation there, it's just where it comes out. Interesting note, if you do the same glitch from the Fire Temple, you end up in the credits. No Ganon whatsoever, you just end up in the credits. It's just, this is fascinating.
There are a few speedruns that implement that.
Well, like I said earlier, the Pokemon Yellow cutscene, or the Pokemon Yellow, you literally leave your house, enter the credits.
You leave the house and you go to the champion area.
Okay.
And then
I've seen one where you can go straight into the credits.
Yeah.
But, okay. The huge thing with the miracle that you can go straight to the top of Ganon's Castle is because normally, in order to beat Ganondorf, this was, in the speedrunning community, was a giant bottleneck. Because in order to beat Ganondorf, you need a bow, the quiver, the light arrows, and magic. And you also obviously need to be an adult to wield the bow. Those 5 things were a giant bottleneck. No matter what you did with the run, you had to have those 5 things. Until this glitch was found, this wrong warp, like I keep saying, is basically like holy grail of speedrun, because it just blows open so many more doors. It just miraculously worked out that you ended up right after that bottleneck, where Ganondorf was dead. Because you do not actually need the light arrows for anything after that in the entire game besides being Ganondorf. Alright. I am Josh, as I said again, visually is my handle.
we still have, if my wife's determined,
We still have like 5, well, we try to leave 5 minutes early for the next time else come in, but I think there's a setup after this.
Yeah.
So, we've got a little bit like 10 minutes if we want to.
Any questions or queries about specific games? I am modestly versed. I am far from an expert. This has just been a general introduction. Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes. Let's say, I'm sure if anybody's interested about starting speedrun themselves, there is Speedruns Live or Speed Demos Archive. They are it's said that they're competitors, they're more almost brother sites because there's no true competition between them. If you go to either site, you'll find people running the games, you'll find forums pages long talking about glitches, etc., and breaking down the games. If you ever, I do not recommend actually reading through the Ocarina of Time one because it's like 1,000 pages long. It literally is 15 years long.
Yeah, it's ridiculously long.
For people who are curious as to more speedruns, there is AGDQ, Awesome Games Done Quick, and SGDQ, Summer Games Done Quick, which are a winter and summer charity run that do, I believe AGDQ is the Red Cancer Foundation raising money for, and SGDQ is the Doctors Without Borders, And the big thing here is it's a 7-day spree where they get speedrunners from around the world even. Some people come from out of country to come in and do speedruns just for donations. They'll do funny tricks, they'll do side stuff, anything they can to earn money. But the big one thing I really love about this is the whole time while they're going through it, they explain what's happened. Because if you just go on YouTube and type in random speedrun, sure you can find people running if you have no idea what they're doing. If you're curious as to what's actually happening in them, I highly recommend looking up the AGDQ or the SGDQ videos, and they actually have detailed explanations of everything that's going on. Again, that's one of the reasons I love Cosmo, because he's so simple and to the point about everything he's doing. Because I can literally sit there and talk about this for 20 minutes, and maybe some people might not get it. He's got a simple and efficient way of just doing it while he's doing the run, which is even more interesting.
It's also nice to know that SGDQ and AGDQ has raised like $1 million.
Actually, on that note, AGDQ this previous winter raised $1 million on its own for cancer research. And that has literally set its own world record, ironically, for the most money ever raised by for donations, charity donations. I would have to say Cosmo. I'm still getting into it myself. I've done more research than anything else. Cosmo is hands down a great one. Also, there's Bonesaw. He's just fun to watch.
Yeah. I remember this. There's a guy who did a Sonic 06 speedrun.
Oh, wow.
Let me break this down. Okay, let me break this down. Sonic 06 has 3 different segments. Okay, you got Shadow, Silver, and Sonic.
It's the same glitch, just a...
Well, yeah, it is, but there's 3 different segments. He had a 15-minute slot. He did 20 minutes a game.
So you have the NPC's box open, you start a mission, cancel the mission, cancel again because you're talking to the NPC, you cancel the NPC dialogue, you literally cancel out of the world, it doesn't know what to do, it throws you in the credits.
Because it wasn't broken enough as it is. And apparently to do shadows it takes like 40 minutes into the game to do that, but that's still pretty incredible considering how painful that game is. I don't want to ever touch it, not the 39.5 pole. So, that.
The 2 hours.
Really? You are informed.
No, it said it's supposed to be an hour with setup after this.
There's an hour setup. This is not 2 hours.
As much as...
For phone?
I was...
Okay.
They told me an hour, so...
I mean, we're welcome to stay here and chat speed runs until they kick us out if you want to. I got a question.
Yes.
What's your favorite speed run? Super Monkey Ball.
I have to say...
I have a handful.
I have to say probably the Ocarina of Time run was, just because it was my first real introduction to speedrunning. Another one is the Super Mario 64 16-star run in 16 minutes. This one was tool assisted because I found it like 5 years ago because it was one of the first people who tried to do it. Now it can be eaten with 0 stars, but...
Yeah, that takes like what, 10 minutes?
5, I think.
Yeah. All those hours wasted. Because personally, I have a whole list of speedruns I found that I love. Pokemon ones are always interesting, but...
The Pokemon ones they're sometimes boring as heck, sometimes really interesting, because it is I completely forgot one of the speedrun types. Low percent, which is you go out of your way to get the absolute minimum of anything.
Which kind of defeats the purpose of the speedrun in the first place.
Well, no, you do it as fast as possible, but they have to bend over backwards and break the game to avoid getting certain things. Like, I'll say, if you wanted the low percent Ocarina of Time, I think the only thing you can do without is the Deku Knife. Because you can stun her...
Without any...
No, actually. No, you can't.
No? Okay.
Because you normally do it with a slingshot.
But no, my personal favorite, how many of you guys played Donkey Kong 64? Oh, we all love this one, okay. How long did it take for you guys to beat it? Shoot numbers.
43 minutes. A bajillion hours.
Oh, childhood, how you bring back memories.
I know it's
Okay.
bullshit, but I want to say.
How long did it beat it? We're not asking about 100% completion. We're just saying, how many hours did you waste of your childhood playing Johnny 564? For record, I beat halfway. I got the 5 palms. Anyway, so somebody did a speed run. An hour.
Ironically, 90 is the most broken Kong in the game because all of the locked doors except one, he gets in to go and reach the zone through the lock.
Oh, it's so fun. It's so fun to
You
watch.
mentioned that one of the speedrun types is 100%.
Yes.
Is there two types of 100%? Is there one where you do it with legitimate game
You
characteristics?
can have multiple things. You could do 100% glitchless. I've never seen anybody do it because
We've never seen it.
So
100% glitched is usually what happens?
yes, it, like
Depends on the game.
Yeah.
I've never seen it. I'm not saying. I mean, if you wanted to do it, you could do it yourself. But
Set the record yourself and be like, hey, I did it first. First, comment, YouTube, I did it first. First.
the big thing is the speed runs evolve as the games do. For example, like with Ocarina of Time, when it started out, people just got through it as fast as possible. Then somebody found a way to skip the trials, the little mini dungeons at the end in Ganon's Castle. Then people found the bottle adventure where you can literally program items in your inventory. They would get to a certain part of the game and just input all of the medallions and finish. And then there was the raw world setup. Each of these has evolved into its own category. When the glitches found that substantially changed the time, like a minute or two is iffy, but if like the raw world literally cut a 2-hour run to 20 minutes. So, you know, there are people run all of these categories still. This is not the only category run, even though it's the shortest one. It's just generally the most heavily competed over because it's the easiest one to repeat.
I also personally love Luigi's Mansion.
Oh god.
That is so funny. Okay, that took maybe 10?
15 minutes.
Oh, this, I'm talking about the original run. Like, there's a normal run that's like, about 10 hours. No.
2 hours.
No, like a normal run of Luigi's Mansion. A normal run of Luigi's Mansion is like, what, 10 hours? Maybe 15 minutes.
Yeah, somebody found an out-of-bounds glitch after the first boss. You go straight to the end.
Well, the check materializes, you fuse through the door, you walk to the side, you'll kind of start to angle a little bit, and if you position yourself just right, you'll fall where King Boo is there, and he's all like counting Mario painting, and he's like, yeah, that guy.
More specifically, you beat the first boss, the baby. The big key chest spawns. People actually have to change their control scheme to sidestep. They push themselves behind the chest as it materializes. It forces them into the wall, and they are technically stuck on the ceiling of the first floor, even though they're considered in the second floor. They call it floor 1.5. You have to do some ridiculously tricky things to be able to walk through it because there are these little raised bars that you can't walk over normally. You have to get hit by the bat that can fly through the floor, apparently, to get stuck at really funky angles and then walk around like this. And you might get lucky enough to get over the.
That was
bar.
really impressive. Can you do that again?
But there are two
Bad
things.
boy, no biscuits.
There are, I believe, I've never seen a low percent of Luigi's Mansion run, even though I'm curious to see it, as in beat the game normally with a minimum amount of money.
But that's no fun, get tapped in the end.
I know. But the
That's what happens when you go straight to
the other thing is it would make you take longer because you intentionally have to take longer on each boss.
Yeah, but that's not speedrunning.
Exactly, that's why I said it wouldn't be that fun. But it's, well, I'm sorry, you had a question earlier. Oh, you were just checking, okay.
On top of Luigi's Mansion, it's kind of like Dust, where people don't really run the shortest category.
Because it's not even fun.
Yeah, Luigi's Mansion, they actually only run 100% because that's where all the skills involved get out to. Same thing with Dust. And there's some games.
So just 100% just takes too long, I'm sorry. It's still like 4 hour run, for 100%.
I do like 9-hour runs. Which all night you run like 6
I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, I'm sorry, you played your hand up for a while. Most of the Pokemon's, I'm sorry, I actually got sidetracked from talking about Pokemon speedruns. They're generally,
I have the video of Pokemon Gold, and he did the yellow run with it.
so I was saying,
I can try to look at it real
okay,
quick.
go ahead, I'll explain. Most of the Pokemon speedruns have two parts. One, the whole thing is planned out, where all of the items are that you might need, primarily potions or eaters, and then a specific glitch. It varies by the game, but the big thing is it is a minimalist run. Half of it is random, because it's like they have one Pokemon. That is it. They throw, and they don't even care about the rest of them. They have one Pokemon. They go through with that one Pokemon, and they'll use any item they can to try and boost it, but half the time it's just, like, if the boss uses this one move, I'm screwed. They really have it down to perfection. They will figure out the boss Pokemon's stats, the gym stats. For the Pokemon Gold speedrun, he got to, I believe it was Goldenrod. Now, interestingly enough, you have to have the file name YXG, all lowercase, for this speedrun. You do a specific glitch, which I was saying, I'm sure everybody started the do glitch from the, move Pokemon through the boxes, it starts saving, turning off and on, and if you did it just right, you're out the Pokemon twice.
Yes.
And I think it's Zora just won't fly. But if you, there is a one frame trick you can do, where if you turn it off and on at just the right time, the game goes. I cannot express how you are considered to have every item and all 250 Pokemon in your inventory in your list at the same time. Everything. The game goes nuts.
All the things.
On top of that, it also lets you exceed 6 Pokemon in your party. Now, Pokemon, items, and moves all have the same numbers. It's just, if it's in your pouch, the number 812 might be a Master Ball. If it's in your party, it might be a Pikachu. If it's in a move slot, it might be Fire Blast. It's all the same number, it's just where it is. So what happens if you start putting Pokemon in an area where you can't have them? When you exceed 6 Pokemon, you start putting Pokemon into move slots. So I believe he starts with Totodile, and then gets a Geodude, which because he can apply Geodude in the 7th slot to force his Pokemon to have rollout. And then because he's got, now don't forget, he also has all of the other 250 Pokemon as well. The game, if I remember correctly, the game glitches to all heck. It thinks he has a Magikarp with the stats of a Shuckle with Totodile's moveset plus rollout.
Why is he walking around poisoned?
Because
Yeah, go ahead. It started, so go ahead. Go ahead and explain what happened.
I'm trying to remember.
Why he's walking around poisoned?
Yes.
I actually don't remember why that happened.
Well,
I have no idea why.
I think that's actually just a glitch in the game. Because this is the Pokemon Yellow part, right?
Yeah. No, usually Pokemon actually lie.
Well, I mean, you said, never mind.
Yeah.
I believe this is a glitch. Because this one also, he has everything. You exchange 4 things, and you can literally modify to where you go. You exchange 2 items, you exchange 2 Pokemon, and you can walk into the Elite Warrior area. You know how that old legend was that Mew was in the grass outside of Route 1? He'll walk into there. No, Mew. So you can literally, based on where you change those, see, this is doing Pokemon Yellow. Would you like it? She's good at that.
I am, apparently.
You can literally, now the issue with this speedrun is it relies on getting a 1/40th of a frame trick. You have to reset it on a specific 1/40th of a frame. If you do, the game goes to all heck. If you don't, keep trying. I personally hate watching a speedrun like this because it will literally take technically 2 hours of setup. And then the game's over. That is actually, this is the one speedrun I've ever seen in AGDQ where he doesn't finish. The gold speedrun, the problem is he had a level 280 Pokemon, I believe.
Isn't it like 225 or something like that?
It's over 200.
Yeah.
But again,
You can't go over
the game
255.
uses the Magikarp with the stats of a Shuckle, with the moveset of Crocodile plus rollout. He can't control the thing. But also the game will crash if he loads up his Pokemon list because it thinks he has more than 6 Pokemon even though he can't. So he has to go through the entire Elite Four without healing, without any items. He can't load up the items and use on a Pokemon because that all affects Pokemon lists. He can't actually finish. Because after that, oh, I completely missed the point. Yeah, the reason he has to choose the name YSG, once he performs the glitch, the graphics in the game go nuts. Absolutely nuts. Random sprites, random palettes appear everywhere. It actually, specifically, the name YSG gives him a specific setup where he can walk straight from I'm sorry, in the Johto region, the city with, right up, there's the city with the department store. Does anyone know of him?
No.
No, in Johto.
Caledon?
Anybody know what I'm talking about?
Goldenrod?
No.
No, I want to say it, but anyway, he can go from there to the Elite Four of Kanto.
Celadon.
Oh, that's
Everything is missing to the point, literally, you can't put this on the regulator because it does random differently. So he had to literally mix and match letters and numbers until he got this.
And his name.
Did you play Gold?
What up?
Did you play Gold Silver?
I played...
That might have been.
Missing now.
Oh yeah.
I think it was Crystal.
No, it doesn't.
Crystal was when I passed.
I'm just wearing the original hat.
That was the first one where they introduced boy and girl, isn't it?
Probably.
Yes.
That's a lot of nines there.
The name is Rich Wall. Like I said, he's
I'm gonna go up there and-
Pokemon at the same time.
Excuse me, Joe.
Random notes in, I believe it's Gold and Silver. Missing note is a shiny Bulbasaur. That nose explosion. No, in Gold and Silver.
Oh.
Yeah, and like red and blue.
Yeah, well, it's an old story, old theory that Missing Mill was supposed to be Kangaskhan's child. Because if you give a rare candy to Missing Mill, it will evolve into a Kangaskhan. The other theory is that Kangaskhan is a lost evolutionary path of Marowak, because if you look at Marowak, or at Cubone, it looks very, very similar to the youngling in Kangaskhan's pouch. And if you look at the Marowak helmet, it looks like a Kangaskhan skull. And it is specifically said that Cubone and Marowak wear the bones of their parents.
There's a person out there?
It's broken.
And Oak tries to talk to him.
Can I explain something that's going on here?
Go for it.
So, this is actually, the timer should be stopped right now because...
They said this is a BS thing. He's just screwing around. They just let the timer go.
Yeah.
No.
He already finished the run.
Yeah. But that's why the estimate is 0.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they finished it. This is for yellow.
Yeah, I'm saying yellow's
No,
already done.
yeah, he is. He's just screwing around. They just didn't stop the timer.
Yeah, they finished yellow at about 12 minutes. He got the trick set up, but then he like messed up the tossing the master balls. Because you have to do a bunch of like memorized inputs to
Well, because
get the
you can't
memory
see
addresses
anything.
right. Yeah, you can't see what you're doing.
You switch I think you dump the 12th item, then switch the 7th with the 2nd, or something like that.
And then however many master balls you toss, it goes to different places.
That's right.
So he's just tossing different ones and showing what
Professor Oak's
happens.
going on a jog. He's trying to keep healthy for an old guy.
And he missed.
Oh,
He's going for a jog.
Was
No, I don't think so. I don't remember, but I'll say that was the general introduction of speedrunning. I hope everybody liked it. Thank you.
Yay. Wake up, Joe. What's he trying to do with Oak right now? What's he trying to do with Oak? Talk to him?
Waiting for Oak, because the game is frozen. The game won't do anything until... Oh, there we go.
Oh.
Yeah, he eventually just switches out.
Oh.
Yeah, I just
Well. How you doing?
What's up, Joe?
Okay.